Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is my dog, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for InvictaFC 9, Honchak versus Hashi, which happens on November 1st on UFC Fight Pass. Overall, there are some fights I do like. Mizuki, Inoue versus Karolina. I'm not going to pronounce the names really well. Karolina, Kowalkiewicz. I can't pronounce the name at all. Let's see. Ayaka Hamasaki versus Rivera-Calanoc should be pretty good. You got a lot of newbies coming into Invicta here. Some of them that looked pretty good from what I was watching. Andrea KGB Lee looked really good. Who else? Amanda Bell's fighting. She has that big win over Marina Shafir. So yeah, looks like a pretty good card. I always have high expectations for InvictaFC though. I mean, on paper, they don't have it's not littered with recognizable names or anything like that. But they're very good about scouting talent and finding talent that generally has entertaining fights. So let's just get started. In the main event for the InvictaFC flyweight title at 125 pounds, we have Barb Little Warrior Honchak versus Takayo Hashi. Hashi has a 15-4 record with 1 draw. 1 win by TKO, 4 wins by sub. She's 36 years old. She's actually fought in Strikeforce, if I'm not mistaken, against Sarah Kaufman, some other organizations as well. Not the greatest striker or anything like that. Her ground game though is good. It's kind of, I want to say, except with the exception of Mizuki and Inoue. And it's kind of the great grappler, bad strike, not so great striker that we tend to see from the women's Japanese MMA scene. Barb Honchak, 9-2 record, 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. She's 35 years old on an 8-fight win streak. Trains out of Militage. She is the InvictaFC flyweight champion. And one of the most well-rounded fighters, actually, female fighters that I've seen, to be honest with you. Good, solid stand-up. Actually, her fight against Vanessa Porto was primarily took place in the stand-up department. Her wrestling's good. Her ground and pound's pretty solid. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's good. She does have good cardio. She went 5 rounds with Leslie Smith. And I think Porto was for the title actually. So yeah, just really well rounded. I can't say she excels at any one area of MMA, but she's good, if not very good, at all areas of MMA. With that said, I gotta go with Barb Little Warrior Honchak to win this one. Like I said, just a little too well rounded for Hashi. Next fight after that, at 115 pounds, Mizuki Inoue fights Karolina. I can't pronounce her last name. Kowalkiewicz, I guess. I just butchered the name. Karolina K is what I'll call her from now on. Inoue, 8-2 record, 6 wins by sub, 2 wins by decision, 20 years old. Interesting that she has so many wins by submission because she's actually really well known for her boxing. You can watch her fight against Beck Rawlings and Invicta. I mean, just really good use of combination and good boxing. But she does have a really good ground game as well. Karolina, 5-0 undefeated record. 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. She's 28 years old. She's the KSW strawweight champion. She has, from what the announcers are saying, I think it was Chavello, that was doing the announcing. She has a Krav Maga background, but watching her fight, what I like seeing from her, her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game's good. she's a particularly good guard passer with some decent ground and pound. Her kickboxing's like average. I wouldn't say it's like bad. I wouldn't say it's like that good or anything like that. But she's definitely a solid strawweight. With that said, though, Inoue is something of a prodigy. Her boxing is pretty much ahead of the curve for her division, and her ground game's really good as well. I gotta go with Mizuki Inoue for the win there. Next fight off that, at 105 pounds at atomweight, Ayaka Hamasaki fights Rivera-Calanoc. I think the H is I don't know if it's pronounced that way, actually. But with Tiburcio, 8-2 record, 6 wins by submission, 2 wins by decision. She's only 22 years old on a 3-fight win streak. From what I've seen from her, and just today, I've watched video of every one of these fighters. Like, amateur fights, pro fights. I've made sure to watch video of everyone here. So what I've seen from her, she does have good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Her offensive takedown ability is good. She's a type that's really aggressive, pins you against the cage, forces a takedown. One of her fights I saw her, she actually utilized like a judo type of takedown as well. Her stand-up, she seems something more of a brawler in the stand-up department. Which quite honestly is probably better than Hamasaki. Hamasaki, 10-1 record, 2 wins by TKO, 4 wins by sub. She's 32 years old, training out of AACC with the likes of Megumi Fujii and Hitomi Akano. She has some strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Her offensive takedowns are actually good. If I'm not mistaken, most of her takedowns are like more clinch-based, trips, judo throws. I think she has a judo base as well. She's a good guard passer. I actually made sure to rewatch. There's the Claudia Gadelha fight. But I think it was Lacey Shuckman. Showed some good takedown ability, passer guard. Managed to get a submission. Once it's an armbar at the third round. So with that said, they're kind of similar in the sense of where their strengths are at. I'm actually going to go with Hamasaki here, though. I think she's a bit cleaner about her technique. Whereas Tiburcio, she seems a bit more... I don't want to use the word reckless, but just a bit more aggressive to the point where, that like it's not always technical. So I guess that's the best way to describe it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Hamasaki to win this one. I think she can get the takedowns on Tiburcio and use her superior grappling to get the win here. Well, I don't know if it's superior, but I mean she is a really strong grappler. She actually showed some good ground and pound in that Lacey Shuckman fight as well. Actually postured up well and whatnot. But yeah, Ayaka Hamasaki for the win. I think she can get... She's just a bit cleaner with her technique than Tiburcio is. About getting takedowns and just about her like top control and her overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. Next fight after that, at 135 pounds, we have Cindy Battlecat Dendoi. Man, I was just watching fights with her too, and there's a way to pronounce her last name. I'll just say Dendoi for now. Versus Kaitlin Young. Well, Dendoi's 5-1 record, 2 wins by TKO, 1 win by sub. She's 29 years old. She actually last fought in March of 2011. Is that a win or a loss? I think it was a win over Jordana Bears, who is well known for beating Cyborg in that Muay Thai fight. She does have a good judo base. Her grappling is good. Her striking, though, isn't that great. It's actually pretty sloppy. Her defense, she got knocked out by Yana Kunitskaya because Her striking, both offensively and defensively, isn't very good. One other problem that she has, though, is that she really reaches for the clinch. Kaitlin Young, 7-8 record with 1 draw, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by decision. She also has 3 losses by KO or TKO and 3 losses by submission. 29 years old. She's actually on a 3-fight losing streak. She's lost the likes of like Leslie Smith, Lauren Murphy. Who else did she lose? I totally forgot who else she lost to, though. She last fought in April 2013. I know she generally trains at Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, but I know she's training with Ronda Rousey for this fight, which would make sense, actually, because she is a striker, and with Cindy, she does have that judo base, so if you're going to train with someone, train with Ronda Rousey for judo, you know? Last time Young has won is on January 2012. She's a really good kickboxer. I mean, she knocked out like Miesha Tate earlier in her career. Had some great fights with Leslie Smith. Her problem has always been grappling, though. You know, she's good on the feet, but like on the ground, the ground's her weakest, the weakest aspect of her game. But the thing with Cindy is that the ground is the strongest aspect of her game, but her striking is the weakest aspect. I also want to add in the fact that she hasn't fought in like 3 years. Well, one thing is you don't really know what's going on in those 3 years because, you know, it's not like with a lot of fighters when they're on a layoff, it's not like they're sitting on the couch all day. You know, they're training and they are getting better. But you know, the ring rust, I believe, is real and whatnot. So I think that Kaitlin's better in the stand. You know, definitely has a better chance of getting her stand-up in and connecting with her strikes more than Cindy does taking down Kaitlin Young. Also considering who Young has been training with. She's been around the block too, you know. I'd say she's a veteran. Also that, you know, she last fought in 2013. But, you know, 1 year layoff versus like a 3-year layoff is a lot better. So I'm going to go with Kaitlin Young to win that one. Next fight after that, at 105 pounds, Nicdali, the Night Queen Rivera-Calanoc, fights Jodie Esquibel. Esquibel actually just fought. She fought Jinyu Frey in Invicta, in Invicta's last event. She has a 4-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by decision. 28 years old, training out of Jackson Winklejohn. She has a boxing background, actually. Yeah, she's a solid, you know, and she uses it well in the cage. Nicdali, she has an 8-7 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by decision. She also has 3 losses by submission. 29 years old. She has a very particular style. She bullies opponents against the cage and grinds against them against cage. It's pretty much like, and at 105, it's actually pretty effective. She'll throw punches to bully opponents against the cage, and then she works her takedowns, but she doesn't have the greatest offensive takedown game, so sometimes it just ends up being like something of a grinding against the cage, but she's really aggressive and pushes forward. With that said, I'm going to go with Jodie Esquibel to win that one. I think she's a better striker. I can imagine that Rivera-Calanoc just going to close the gap as soon as possible. I don't know. The thing with... so it's a very interesting style matchup here because Esquibel needs space for her striking, whereas like Rivera-Calanoc fights more in close and more on the inside. So it really depends who can get their game going. I'll go with Jodie Esquibel for the win there, though. Next fight after that, at 105 pounds, Amber, the Bully Brown, fights Liz Lightning McCarthy. Well, McCarthy has a 2-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 1 win by decision. She's 28 years old, training out of Team Quest. She does have some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. She even goes for like flying triangles and whatnot. Her setup's actually solid. I remember her fight against is it Jessica Philippus? I think Philippus. just beat her up in the stand-up. She actually has some decent kickboxing. Her offensive takedown abilities not too bad either. Amber the Bully Brown, 3-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 1 win by sub. She's 25 years old, training out of Fit NHB. Other guys that train out there would be like Tim Means and Ray Borg. She last fought in July 2013. That was against Kikuyo Ishikawa, who's actually one of the top higher level fighters in Japan. Female fighters in Japan at that weight class. So I watched that fight actually, Ishikawa versus Brown. One thing I liked about Brown is she's always pushing forward, trying to get the clinch, and she has really good knees from the clinch. She actually ends up winning against Ishikawa by armbar. With that said, I like the skills of McCarthy a little more than Brown. I can see Amber Brown bully her way into the clinch, force her up against Gage, maybe work some knees, try and get a takedown or something like that. McCarthy, though, like I said, I like, she's actually pretty good everywhere. Her stand-up's pretty solid. She does have a good ground game. So, I'm going to go with Liz Lightning McCarthy to win that one. I think she might be just a bit more cleaner with her technique. A little more well-rounded. Okay, next right off that, at 145 pounds, Amanda, the Lady Killer Bella, fights Maria Hougaard Djursaa. Okay, let's see Doug. Djursaa has a 5-5 record, 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub. She also has 2 losses by submission. So the thing with Djursaa that I noticed watching videos of her, she's relentless about getting takedowns. She has good offensive takedown abilities. Her striking, though, needs some work. When she was on the ground, I did notice that she can get reversed. She gets aggressive about taking the back and whatnot, and would get reversed because of that. Amanda Bell, 2-2 record, 1 win by KO, 1 win by sub, 26 years old. She is a finisher. She has a notable KO win over Ronda Rousey's training partner and four horsewoman member, Marina Shafir. And what that fight showed, she has good stand up. She did fight in Invicta before against Tamika Boom Boom Brent. So this fight kind of worries me because I think Bell has a better stand up, but I remember Brent managed to take down Bell and control her. And Djursaa could actually work that strategy. I think it's very possible. With that said, though, I'm going to go with Amanda Bell to win that one. Hopefully she can defend the takedowns or scramble if it does get to the ground. And I think she beats up Maria Djursaa on the feet. So Amanda Bell for the win there. Next fight after that, at 125 pounds, Andrea KJB Lee fights Shannon Sinn. So Shannon Sinn has a 1-1 pro MMA record. It's 1 win by submission. Some of the fights I saw from her last fight actually took place in the stand-up. She has a decent stand-up, but she's trying to use her range. She was a bit too patient in that fight. And what else did I see from her? Decent ground game as well. With Lee, she has a 1-0 undefeated record, 1 win by TKO. She's 25 years old. Apparently, she's on the USA women's kickboxing team, and she has a boxing background. And from what I read, she's trying to get into U.S. Olympic boxing team. What I saw from her is she has good technical kickboxing. She actually uses head movement really well. Her hands are pretty good. She's good in the clinch. She'll throw knees from the clinch as well. And overall, good dirty boxing. I remember I saw one fight where she had her opponent against the cage and just started unloading. Punches, kicks to the body, kicks to the head, and she got the stoppage there. Really good stuff, especially with her kickboxing. The thing is that the stuff I saw from her ground game, though, needs some work. One thing I noticed is that she loses positions on the ground, especially like in the scramble. She'd be on top, and then she would lose the position. I think she just gets like over anxious on the top. With that said, I gotta go with Andrea KGB Lee for the win here. I think she has the superior kickboxing to Shannon Sinn. Sinn can get into the ground, it could be interesting, but I gotta go for Lee with her stand-up here. I think actually she might be, considering her background and her striking, her martial arts background, well, I'll say striking background, she might actually be, from what I saw from her fights, she looked kind of ahead of the curve as far as her striking goes. So Andrea Lee for the win there. Next fight after that, Jamie Moyle fights Jenny Liou Shriver. Jenny Liou Shriver, 2-0 undefeated record. 1 win by TKO, 1 win by decision. I read that she fights out a sub-fight, or I remember some announcers were saying she fights out a sub-fighter. I'm not too sure if she still fights out of there. Stuff that I saw from her video, from her fights, her offensive takedown ability isn't too bad. She's primarily a grappler from what I saw. The thing though is I saw her amateur fight. She had 2 pro fights, and she actually won with like knees and I think it was like knee to the body and follow-up strikes. I saw a highlight of that, but I didn't actually get to see the whole fight. And she fought one of the Leibarger twins as well, and lost by unanimous decision. I didn't get to see that fight though. So from what I saw the decent offensive takedown ability. It's good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She will actually pull guard. But her striking, from what I saw in her amateurs, didn't look that great, and her striking defense needed a lot of work. But once again, in her first pro fight, she ended up getting won by a TKO in the stand-up. So I don't really. She may have made some improvements in the stand-up since then. Jamie Moyle, she's gonna make her pro debut. She has no pro MMA bouts, but she's 5-2 as an amateur. She has 1 win by TKO as an amateur and 4 decision wins as an amateur. I got some mixed information here, because I know some of the announcers were saying she's training out of Jungle MMA. Like other guys that train out of there would be like Seth Petruzzelli. But then when I went to like the Fight Finder, it said that she trains out of Syndicate in Las Vegas. So I don't know if that changed with her or not. A lot of guys training out of Syndicate. Roxanne Modafferi, Vinny Magalesh, I believe Mike Pyle now trains there, among some other good fighters. I liked what I saw from Moyle though. Her striking was good. She uses movement. She has some decent offensive takedown ability as well. She had high pressure. One thing is, like, I remember I was watching a fight where she's fighting, Molly Ren Holmes? And that was the fight in Tough Enough that got her the contract for the InvictaFC contract. Among other fights. Like, she would use her striking to get inside, bully her opponent against the cage, try and get the takedown. She had a pretty decent single leg takedown actually, and when she got it on the ground, she showed some good ground and pound and some overall decent or just good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. With that said, I gotta go with Moyle to win this one. One thing about Moyle is that she seemed a little more, less reckless and more fundamentally sound. Like, she doesn't get too wild with her striking. She doesn't get too wild with her grappling. Whereas with Jenny Liou, sometimes, like, she's definitely a type, if she's on the ground, she'll like throw up an armbar, lose position sometimes for being aggressive. So yeah, I gotta go with Jamie Moyle for the win there. And finally, at 135 pounds, Maegan Mayhem Goodwin fights Kelly Killer McGill. Okay, so with Goodwin, she has no pro MMA fights. She's 3-0, undefeated as an amateur. She has 2 submission wins as an amateur, 22 years old. She last fought in September 2013. I only got to see one of her amateur fights. It was actually her first one against Jen something or like that. She did show some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. With McGill, she has a 1-0 undefeated pro MMA record, with that win being by TKO. And, you know, the record's kind of funny because I actually found it's from where I saw the stat, she has 1-0 amateur record. But the thing is, I actually found like three fights of hers that weren't her pro fight. So one of them was like this 55-second weird guillotine win she got. Another one was a 7-second KO. And then there was another one where she got a decision win. So I don't know if they're exhibition bouts or whatnot. But I think she has a lot more amateur bouts than what's recorded. Well, with McGill, though, she trains at Last Stand Fight Team with the likes of Michael McDonald. Her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills are good. I liked what I saw. She will lose position because she is a bit over anxious about getting a submission sometimes. She'll get mount, go for an armbar, lose position. Her stand-up defense did need some work. I saw her fight, though, was in Tachi, actually, and she fought Leslie Rodriguez. And, you know, her amateur fights I saw, her stand-up it looked kind of reckless. But then I saw that fight, and actually, her stand-up looked a lot better, and she got a TKO victory over Leslie Rodriguez. She's kind of like tall and lanky. With that said, I'll go with Kelly McGill for the win there. So to recap, I have Barb Honchak over Takayo Hashi, Mizuki Inoue over Karolina. I'll just say K. I have to pronounce her last name. Ayaka Hamasaki over Erika Tabricio. Kaitlin Young over Cindy Dandois. And I know I'm pronouncing the name wrong. I wish I remembered how to pronounce her name right. Jodie Esquibel over Nicdali, Rivera-Calanoc. Liz McCarthy beating Amber Brown. Amanda Bell over Maria Hougaard Djursaa. Andrea Liou over Shannon Sinn. Jamie Moyle beating Jenny Liu Shriver. And Kelly McGill over Maegan Goodwin. So that's it for my predictions for InvictaFC 9, Honchak versus Hashi. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.